think it was the 98-99 season where it was at Wimbledon, and it was a funny situation for me because I was, as I broke onto the scene, I then went through a kind of a bad spell where I was in and out of the side. And then we had a new manager that came in, Egil Olsen, I think he's Norwegian coach now, national team. And he kind of came in and changed things around a lot. I mean, at that age, he saw something different in me as well. He had changed from playing a 4-4-2 formation, which is very popular in Europe, and to convert it to a 4-3-3 when I was playing on the right-hand side. I had younger legs in them days, so I can get up and down a lot more. So yeah, I played in that position, and unfortunately that season we got relegated from the Premiership, and but I ended up scoring 15 goals that season, which was a great season for me. So it was a kind of funny situation because it was the first time I've ever been in a situation like that, and so early on in my career. Obviously, you want to play at the highest level, and obviously we got relegated. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to have a season out in League One, but we didn't. Probably about a couple of weeks after we got relegated, I had a phone call from my agent saying about how Newcastle were interested, and they basically slapped an offer down, concrete offer down on the table, and a club of that stature and that, the players that they have there, it's hard to deny. Yeah, it was definitely the best period of my career. I think just basing it on the amount of games I was able to get out while I was there. And I think the difference is that I was able to understand my body more. I had some serious injuries up in Newcastle, which obviously hindered me from playing games. But those kind of injuries were very new to me, and I didn't probably handle them in the correct way. And I mean, as I got older, I understood my body a bit more. It's funny because when you play at a high level, you do get players who probably who demand more attention, and it's hard when there's a few big players who are injured at the time. So to a sense, you don't get that same attention that you would. So then I went to Newcastle, and to be honest, I went to Wolverhampton. I got looked after very well there. They allowed me to and trusted me to understand my body. I trained certain days of the week when I felt it was right for my body, and that's what helped me, prolong. So that's what helped me get all them games in during the season. Also, as well, I would definitely say being there, playing under Glenn Hoddle. Probably one of the best technical coaches I've played under so far in my career. We all know he's a fantastic player in his generation, and he did help me a lot with the technical side of the game as well. Yeah, to be honest, that was a very difficult time. I had a pretty serious injury in my Achilles, which I tore, and adding that to all the previous injuries in the past, it was very difficult. And mentally, I think that everyone who's been involved in sport would know that it's 70-80% of it is mental toughness, and you have to somehow, whichever way possible, get your head around that, and that's what I had to do. A large spell of it after I left Brentford was I basically virtually on my own training, just using my experience of what I've learned from the past from physios and fitness coaches, and doing a little bit with fitness coaches here and there who I know, but the majority side of it throughout those couple of years has virtually been on my own, and just trying to just keeping fit, working hard, and as I say, being more experienced now, I know what I need to do. It's just a matter of fact, when you're working on your own, it's 10 times harder than when you're working with a team to get up every morning and do the same things, and it's just repetition. And I hold my hand up, it does get boring at times, and you want to change, but that's the difference between. I think that is the difference between why I'm able to come back and play now and not. Yeah, even at the under-21 level, it's a massive. It's demanding. Expectations are extremely high. I know that even in the under-21 level, back then when I was playing, you more or less had to be playing first team football as well at your club, which was difficult. So experience-wise was fantastic playing with some of the players I played with. The Steven Gerrards, Frank Lampards, players like that can only give you fantastic experience. But comparing that to Guyana now, I feel going to Guyana is totally different because myself, I'm one of the more experienced players in the team who's kind of helping the not so experienced players in the team. So and also as well probably the demands are not so great because it's a cricket nation, Guyana, and the expectations aren't as high. But over the last 2 or 3 years, it's probably overachieved Guyana in a sense where when you do overachieve, the public's expectations do rise a lot and they do demand more. And that's what's happening now. But that's only a good thing for the country. And I hope they do progress and get themselves on the footballing map. Well, it's funny enough. It was through the Guyana National Team with JP. He mentioned that I could be a good asset to the team. And also I had a look on the website, looked at the team and the players, and obviously I knew Stuart from his Bristol days, and also Coach Rick. I never saw him play too many times. I knew the name and I knew of his his footballing abilities, and so it was JP who had a word with the club, and they spoke about it for a bit, and just decided to. They were a bit. Understandably a little bit cautious at first because of my history, but I knew that to a certain point. I've been to previous clubs in the past and gone there broken down, and it gets embarrassing for myself as well, and I don't want that to keep happening. And there was no way I was going to come to this club and be in that situation. So I made sure I was 100% fit before I came here and ready to go. And so they just invited me down, and I was able to prove that I was what they needed. Yeah, listen, I'm constantly learning the game. I'm far from a complete player in all areas of the game. Even being here so far, I've enjoyed it. I've learned things. The way they play is suited to me brilliantly because they play passing style. The coach demands a lot and has high expectations for the team, which is good for me personally as well. I do feel I could bring experience to the side, as well as constantly learning, because football is an ever evolving game, and the young players coming into the side now, the young managers, new methods, new training styles. It's totally changed from when I broke into the scene. So I'm learning constantly as well, and also as well having to be in the age I am now, and obviously not having that the same legs as I did as when I was 21. I'm having to change my game as well and adapt to different situations. So all that's experience under my belt as well. I've probably got two. It's weird because when I made my debut for Wimbledon, I scored on my debut at St James's, which is Newcastle. It's like in the first 2 minutes of the game, and it was a crazy experience for me because I've never been so nervous like that in my life before the start of the game. And I've gone from playing reserve team football, where at Wimbledon you would probably get a couple thousand coming to watch the game, to which is now a 50,000 seated stadium. The whole thing is just pure black and white. The fans are crazy, the atmosphere is it's incredible, and I was so nervous, but I scored in the first 2 minutes on my debut, and which settled me right down. I ended up having a fantastic game after that. And the second one would be when I signed for Newcastle. I scored on my debut as well against Derby County at the time, and that was earlier on in the game as well. Again, the reason why I say that is because I was nervous before that game, even though I played my whole season of Premiership football. I was still nervous because the expectations were totally different to what I was used to playing at Wimbledon. And Newcastle is the kind of place where the whole city is basically running football. If the team does well, the whole city is running smoothly. If it's not, then basically the city's not. And it's the kind of place where you can't escape football, whether you're doing well or you're not doing well. So so things started off with a bang there for me. So that's probably the 2 points in my career. Player named Norberto Solano at it's a tough one, at Newcastle. The reason why I say, because he was a winger, but he was so technically gifted. I found myself probably from being at Wimbledon working so hard to create chances, to going there and doing less work, and things kind of being put on a plate for you by him because his ability was second to none. I've been asked this question a few times, and I still say to this day it's probably Yamstam. We played against Man U in my second game at Newcastle, and the guy was just he's a man. He had everything. He was 6'4", 6'5". He was strong. He was quick, and I've never played against someone like that before in my life, and it was kind of like shock to the system because he was just fantastic, and he's proven he was at Man United. He was probably one of the best defenders to ever play at that club. The fans. What I've seen so far, the fans have been fantastic. These fans are so far seem to be loyal fans, and they constantly create a good atmosphere at the games, which definitely helps the players. And it seems like they understand that sometimes in situations in big games like this, fans can play as a 12th man as well. So our message to them would be keep it going, keep backing the boys. They know that we'll give everything we've got.